Okay. And I suppose you kind of indirectly answered this question, but this leads us to this concept of value engagement. So,
Right.
like I said before, you probably answered this already, but just to put it like directly here. So, what exactly is value engagement, and um, what does that mean in the context of Dassault?
Right. So value engagement is sort of our philosophy on how we interact with customers. And we got various phases. And again, it's really meant to be more of kind of an end-to-end process. And really, it's ultimately about delivering better value to our customers. Again, if you could say, well, what's your one goal that you would have? I want happy customers. I do. Happy customers make more happy customers, and again, that tells me that we're doing the right thing. Now, somebody say, well, I think that took too long or cost too much, possibly. Uh, or, well, I didn't get exactly what I wanted out of it. Okay, well, maybe that's an expectation thing. But again, we want people to get what they need and maybe not what they're asking for. And so I mentioned one of the phases. The first phase is typically our value assessment, where we go in and we try to understand where they are and really try to understand what are the needs, right? Somebody may say, well, I need system X. Maybe. Um, okay, here's where we see where you are. And yes, you need that, but you need to do this first or this in conjunction or et cetera, right? And then we can start to build a business justification as well, because again, all these projects take time. They take resources, whether that's people or hard dollars, or again, even if Dassault, for example, were to do much of the services, there's still a significant component of work that's going to need to be done by the customer. So we need to really make sure that what we're doing is not only the right thing, but is going to have a payoff for the customer, because you're competing with other resources. Again, I'll never forget when I was justifying the Dassault project that we ended up doing for my former customer. I had a controller say, "Well, you're talking about X million dollars, okay?" He said, "We're not going to spend an additional X. We're going to do that project instead of putting in a punch press or a piece of equipment or, so it really makes you think about, wow, I'm taking up some of the company's resources. Again, it's going to pay off, or I think it will. We're going to do that instead of, somebody else's capital project, right? So you really need to make sure that you're doing the right thing. So that's really value assessment, value definition. Now we really start to take that assessment and now we're going to dive in more detail. Now we're going to get a detailed business case. This is exactly what we think. We need to spend more time with the customer. We need to really go a couple of levels deeper. Now we're going to start talking about architecture, right? In the value assessment, we're not really talking about, solutions. Now we're starting to talk about solutions. What is the architecture looking like? What's the detailed business case, et cetera? Value commitment. Now we're actually going to say this is what we're going to do. Now we're getting into things like a detailed this is exactly what you need, this is exactly how much you need, here's the resource team, here's a very finite plan, and then you've got the value delivery, which is actually realizing that, or I shouldn't say realizing, delivering that solution, right, whether it's in pieces or it's many pieces at once, and really doing that. And then our final step, and this is again meant to be iterative, uh, is value realization. Did we actually do what we were going to say? I should rephrase that. Did we do what we said we were going to do? And if not, why not? Was it a change management opportunity? Did we not have time to do as much as we wanted? Is it an adoption thing? Do we need additional training, right? So, did we realize the value? Did we realize the goals that we wanted to, and if not, what can we do to do that, right? So and then you kind of come around to another project, and now you do value assessment again, definition, commitment, delivery. So it's really meant to be an iterative process, and ultimately it's there to deliver better value to our customers and ultimately better customer success.
So maybe I'm looking at this too much like an ERP installation company, but so so just to be clear, so when you come into the process when, like you said before, it's already an existing customer. It's not
Hmm.
necessarily like cold sales necessarily so much as it is somebody is installing a software, and around that point in the relationship, you start to do these various research fields to see what else they could need, right? That's where you come into their journey.
We can really come in at any time. So again, you give a good example of an existing company. So yes, we may go into a company that's very mature in their business cycle. We may talk to a company that's been in business for 100 plus years, and manufacturing, and and so that brings its own set of challenges, right? They're used to doing things. How do you uh, maybe point out that there's better ways to do it or a different way? We've worked with startups. Literally, hey, we got an idea and we built one prototype that didn't crash. We're talking about manufacturing in 2027. What do we do? Oh, that's a little different. How do they're not even necessarily making things, but they're looking to you for guidance. They're probably using our design software, right? A lot of companies start out with that, and then, okay, hey, eventually we're going to be doing manufacturing. How do we, and in that case, maybe we're going to recommend some best practices and things like that, because again, there's nothing really that they're doing. And then you've kind of got the middle ground where, you know oftentimes they may not have any Dassault products at all. Uh, and they're just saying, "Hey, we've got these issues. We're looking at an execution system because we've got an old one that we'd like to retire, or we have none, right?" And so they may get these opportunities might get brought to us by partners like yourselves. Might come from our internal sales. They may. Meet someone like me at an airport or a trade show or things like that. So we enter all kinds of businesses at all points in the cycle, I guess. If that's I know that sounds general, but it's really the truth. It's not just, oh, well, somebody had to implement ERP before they can come talk to us, or, oh, we're better before ERP. I mean, we've got companies that are on for example, SAP is our largest install base, great company, but I've got customers who are on AS400 type platforms. We run into just about everything, and that's why, again, it's really important to do that assessment phase, because you need to understand where are they in their journey, right? And what are the issues, opportunities that they're having, and how can we help with that?
And just to be as practical as possible. So, how long generally do these assessments take?
That's a great question. So value assessment is pretty quick. And again, most times that's something that we'll do. At least Delmia, our group, does at a no charge to the customer. What we're really asking for is people's time, because we're going to need the customer to give up some time. Again, we need to educate ourselves on what they do and how they do it, what their opportunities are. And so again, we'll go to a site. Again, we'll spend a couple, 3 hours on the shop floor, and I tell people I can learn more in 2 hours on a shop tour, 3 hours. I do it all day if I can. That's my favorite part of the job. I can learn more in 2 or 3 hours on a shop tour than I can talking to people for a week on the phone. Right? It's one of those things. Again, it's the most enjoyable piece of my job to go out and show me what you're doing and how you're doing it. And again, even companies who are struggling, or at the people in paper, they are most likely putting out tremendous product. I mean, you can, they built very excellent products, in history, uh, without the benefit of systems and computer aided design, things like that. But the reality is it takes a lot of work to do that, right? So back to, you know, how can we really say, okay, that this is going to save you time, this money, people, etc. Um, and that I think really is what we can do.